Last week, I spent some time reviewing the quintile data that the DOE recently released. Although test data is not really congruent with how I measure success, it was interesting, and I like data. I decided to align the test results to free and reduced lunch data to quickly demonstrate two things. One, you can't test away poverty, and two, poverty is essential to the conversations about education. It's not a theory, it's well-replicated social science. Why does that matter, and why am I telling you that today? Because there's a recommendation on the agenda today for the board to approve the submission of a Title II Part A grant. And I'm bringing this up for conversation today, hoping that consideration will be given in the writing of this grant to some of the forward-thinking, research-based best practices that we know about the role of socioeconomic status in academic success. Or perhaps the grant writers will consider consulting some of the schools that present as statistical anomalies in Brevard County when they're considering their needs-based assessment. Since Title II Part A calls for creativity in addressing professional development and school-level leadership, assuredly these are aligned priorities. I found a couple of significant anomalies in the data. Schools that have high poverty and relatively low percentages of students in the bottom quintile. And I noticed a couple of things that these schools had in common. First, they're all in North Brevard, which I just found interesting. And they all had specific mission statements that focused on affective domains, things like global citizenship, character education, and civic growth. I can't honestly say that I've been to these schools, because they're in North Brevard and I live in Palm Bay, but I just think that that's interesting. Enterprise Elementary in Port St. John has 78% of their student population receiving free or reduced lunch, but only 9% of their students scored in the bottom quintile of FSA. I thought that was interesting. It's a Glasser quality school. Their mission statement focuses on lifelong learning and global citizenship. Atlantis Elementary in Port St. John has 52% free and reduced lunch, and only 8% of their students are in the bottom quintile of FSA. They're a nationally recognized character education school. Pinewood Elementary in Mims has 67% free and reduced lunch, and only 6% of their students are in the bottom quintile of FSA. Their mission statement talks about personal responsibility, civic growth, and physical well-being. So from a statistical standpoint, these are anomalies. So again, I haven't been there, but I think that they're interesting. And I'm wondering if before we write this grant application, instead of doing the same thing that we've probably always done, maybe we can consider not putting our teachers in the same skill and drill sort of situation that we always are in, and likely getting the same results that teach to the test and then produce the same general poverty aligned with student achievement. It fails to recognize how socioeconomic status aligns with student success or lack thereof. Maybe we can consider if and to what extent things like character education, global citizenship, and whole child education can ultimately drive academic achievement in spite of unfavorable socioeconomic odds.
Thank you.